Now, collective, I don't know if you're going to believe me, but you've got some people here that genuinely wonder what it's like to wake up and be you. I'm getting a Freaky Friday. They want a Freaky Friday with you, and not in the way it might sound. You have some people that just want to know what it's like to live life from your shoes. It's wild, right? Because I feel like that you'd probably ask the question, why? Why on earth would you want to experience what I've experienced? Because I feel like you've gone through trials and tribulations, but that, my friend, is the crux of the issue here. People, for as much as they try to avoid suffering, know that certain types of suffering are mandatory to reach certain levels in life. There's a difference between suffering for the sake of it and suffering for a point, right? It's like there's one that is valuable and there's the other that is pointless. People want to know what it's like to face something that dwarfs them in size, a problem that from the outside looking in could never be handled by the person that's facing it. But you are the person who faces it and you overcome it, and people desperately want to taste that fruit. It's a fruit that they've watched you devour multiple times and they want a taste of it themselves. They want transcendence from meaninglessness. And you show people that it's possible. Not only is it possible, but it is well within your grasp as long as you have the grit and the guts to get it, right? That's something about you. You have guts. Guts. Like, I don't give me berserk. Every time I hear the word guts, I'm already thinking of berserk. But speaking of berserk, it's dark, gritty, so much happens in Berserk, right? But it's like through it all, the main character Guts just keeps trudging, not trudging, like he's pushing along, he's enduring, right? But your story is not a tragedy like the story of Berserk. I bring up Berserk just to describe the level of dedication, grit, and ambition that you have. They want to wake up and they want to know what it's like to possess the fire, the spark, the ability to ignite your soul. Spirit, please show this collective. What do they need to see? What do they need to see? You know what? I just got fire and desire with you. We have the tower. The tower is giving me fire and desire because it's like the moment of the collapse of the free fall is like your I'm just getting like a whole building falling down. It's like the debris are just falling and you're like floating within it. The debris is like missing you. It looks like it should hit you, but it just doesn't, right? And it's like you're floating amidst the destruction, and then it like pauses and all reforms, but it's better than it was originally. People really do feel like you're a wizard. Because I also got, like, the wizards are in the tower, right? Like, you are definitely working your magic here on this physical plane that people have noticed it. So much so that I don't know. It's not that people have. I feel like people can't make you a target anymore. There's just something here with you. With the tower here, it's like it's not just a rude awakening, it's a dimensional shift. It's like coming into your presence with some bullshit triggers something, I swear. Look, we also got this Four of Pentacles, the Lord of Earthly Power. This is what I'm talking about, grit. This is a person who does not shirk their responsibilities or delegate them to a group of people you have around them. You're literally the type of person who will do it all yourself. And it's like, yes, it comes from a partial mistrust of anybody being able to get it exactly how you like it, which could be a bit toxic, but ultimately it serves your grander vision because you have one. I feel like you're just one of those people that you like things done specifically. They might call you high maintenance, but I feel like to counter this, you have become so independent and self-sufficient that it's put you in a position of power in your own life specifically, but also in the eyes of other people. People feel like you have agency through your independence. It's giving me like you just don't want to rely on a soul. Like, you don't want to have anybody holding a thing over your head, which is probably trauma from something you've been through, right? Like, people try to weaponize something against you. So instead of like giving in, I feel like you're the type of person to take the L, blow up the bridge, burn down the blow up the tower and burn down the bridge just so you can reclaim whatever was like, trying to be usurped from you, control even, and not, and I know that might sound like, oh, like a toxic need for control, but I don't think it's that with you. I think that it's with the Lord of Earthly Power, I think it is about agency. I think it is about comfort as well. I feel like that you don't really live for the comfort of others anymore. So it's like the decisions you're making inevitably will put them at odds. But I feel like that this alone puts you in a different tier, right? It's like people's relationship with you is vastly changing. And I feel like over the decade of 2020 up until now, 2026, I feel like there's been such a radical transformation in how you show up in your relationship specifically that it's really got people thrown for a loop, And I feel like that's why they're viewing you in a sense of agency. Like it's more than coming out of a cocoon, breaking out of your shell. It's like you're just doing something different. It's intensity. That's what it is. It's not that you're doing something that's never been heard of, but the level of energy that you're bringing to it is not normal, right? And so you're producing irregular results that are highly visible, that are highly like scrutinized because of the level that they're at. People think you must be doing something nefarious, right? It's like you seem to have all the free time you want. You can do what you want. That's how people are viewing you. You know who you are, you know what you want, and you're gonna do what you want. Agency. What we got here? We got this Two of Pentacles. People feel like you have a system locked in, like you have all the parts where you need them to where it's not, it's like, I don't know, it becomes like a loop, a self-contained perpetuating loop, and people know that this is not something regular, like you usually need like a group of people to do some of the things you do, right? It's like, nope, it's you. I've said this before, but like, in the SpongeBob episode, like before it was all on fire. He had all those different versions of himself doing things in his mind, like that. People don't know about you. People don't know about you. You're giving me shadow clones with Naruto, but it's like an internal thing. It's like multitasking almost, but clone B is taking care of a task and they're thinking about this, thinking about that, and it's like they all report back, right back to the chief. It's your mental structure. Your mental structure, the foundation it's provided you, is something that's number one, irreplicable because of how unique it is. And it's also something like you are just one of those things, like you can never predict what it's going to look like or what you're going to do until it happens. You're a rare type of like anomaly event, right? I've called you a dark horse before, but it's like you really do fit the definition of it. You show no signs, not one, growing up that this is who you're going to be. And this is how people are thinking about it right now specifically. They're like, not one sign, right? But they just didn't know what to look for. And I feel like you were intentionally hidden a bit. If people really got a glimpse of what you actually are back then, they would have lied out of their ass to just stay around you for whatever reason. Because again, you know how to create a system. This is something that, yes, takes a lot of work to build, but once it really gets going, it's like cruise control, and people want to be part of that. People were hoping that you weren't going to be in a two-door sports car. They were hoping you were going to be on a big ass bus so they could get a ride too. But you got that two-seater. It's only for you and somebody who can match you, and you're not playing about it. You're not playing about it at all. Let's see. We got the Queen of Pentacles right here. The Queen of Pentacles is the builder, but this represents what I just said, the sitting back aspect. And after the machine has been built, the Queen of Pentacles represents that divine, earthly, feminine energy, which is passive, right? But it is also like ever abundant because of the way that it's set up, right? It's like the Queen of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles really match up really well, just because they represent the dynamic you have going between your environment, yourself, and the people around you. It's giving me, I say this so many times in like the last 3 weeks, green thumb, green thumb. And it's with everything. It's like as long as you put your time and attention toward it, it's gonna grow. It's gonna grow. You with this Eight of Cups, this is also interesting. You don't really beat a dead horse. I feel like if the river runs dry, you're gonna leave, and not because you're not willing to like stick it out and work something out, but I feel like you have a real sixth sense for when something's gonna fall apart. I feel like you also just know, like you get a feeling when you know it's gonna dry up and it's like a drought and there's no rain in sight for a while. And you don't really rock with that anymore. I feel like at one point maybe you would have sat in that empty riverbed waiting for the water to come, but I feel like you have since sought other means. And I feel like wherever you're at now, look, and this Queen of Pentacles, she has a flowing river. And do you see how dark it is? I'm taking that as just meaning a very strong, free flowing piece, body of water. And it's like this one, it gets lighter and lighter and lighter as you go up the grill until you end at the chest filled with empty cups. You don't do that anymore. You said bye. I feel like you don't hesitate to leave now. This is something that really gets people, especially if they've known you. I feel like you won't put up with a thing now. You won't do you seriously will not engage in any sort of people pleasing behavior in a toxic sense. Right? Like you're of course you're amicable, friendly, what have you, but I feel like you're not about to entertain any sort of weird behavior, right? You'll cuss them out. And it's funny because you are serene, and I feel like you're serene because you'll cuss them out. You don't hold that in, and I feel like you'll express yourself, and it doesn't. And this is what people like to use this in a way against you, because they're like, oh yeah, look at collective. See, I knew they were mean. I knew they were like this, and it's like, well, I never said I wasn't. I feel like that's what you're saying, and it's because you have multiple sides, and I feel like you're like, damn straight, I'm not about to let anybody play around, right? I feel like you've already done that season of life. You had to blow that up, and you're not really willing to entertain it ever again. And people find that out real quick, very quick. Oh, look, I was about to shuffle the freaking King of Pentacles. I was going to say earlier this represented both the King and the Queen of Pentacles because of the rest of the cards, but that's the confirmation. That's the confirmation, right? You do have a synergy. You have a synergy between self and environment, and it's showing up. Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is all about visibility. It's also about so it. I think it's based on the concept of the Roman triumph. The triumph was basically after a war was won, the reigning emperor of the Roman Empire would throw this massive celebration called a triumph. And basically, it was a procession across Rome with like circus animals, live orchestras, like crazy like gaudy stuff. So this is giving me like you're not being seen like in decadence or opulence, like in a negative sense. You're just being seen as somebody who has kind of like figured something out. It's like a glow. It's a glow of an epiphany that you have had that's allowed you to enter a new state of mind. And that's what this is. Like people are seeing it. The reason I keep bringing other people is because that's what this Six of Wands is about. It's like it's not you thinking that you're on top of the world. It's not you walking around thinking that you're hot shit because that would be narcissistic, right? It's other people that are thinking this. That's what the Six of Wands is really telling you. I feel like you have a more grounded view of yourself. I feel like because again, like I don't feel like you view yourself in the way that other people see you, and that's not a bad thing. It's not because it's very different than having like a low self-esteem or a low self-image. You're just not constantly glazing yourself, right? I feel like you're a capable human being, but you don't need to walk around and let the world know that. I feel like you walk the talk, um, or you don't even talk, right? You don't need to talk. Yeah, temperance. Temperance, you have a grace about you. It's a grace and a wisdom to know that sometimes you just don't need to take action on something. Sometimes you can sit back and let it flow. And this is something that is funny because I was talking about control earlier and how you thrive when you have a certain level of control, but part of your control is paradoxical because it comes in the form of a surrender. And it's not always, but there's specific circumstances that I feel like you intuitively pick up that like when you just need to allow something to run its course versus trying to intervene directly. And it's like this passive dynamic, this energy that you have with some things almost does the intervening in and of itself despite your inaction. Isn't that weird? But that's what the type of energy you give off. I kept calling you like paradoxical. There is something paradoxical about you. But I guess you can't really call it a paradox if it works, right? I guess from the outside looking in, people feel like they are diametrically opposed, your traits. But they're not because they have synergy. They are different and they may be on both ends or two sides of a coin, but it's still the same coin. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Then we got the Hierophant. The Hierophant I love in this case because we have the two people at the bottom with those two keys given to them by the high priest in the picture. And he represents the fixed stars as well. It's like the zodiac. This is giving me you getting handed like knowledge keys. This is like it's also like spirit entrusting you with certain types of knowledge because you can understand it. And I feel like you're also somebody who genuinely will take the advice here. The keys that you're given, you'll unlock the door that it's meant to unlock. You don't just keep it. You actively seek the door and you find it and you unlock it. And it's like you know what you're doing. Your intuition is crazy because it's like I don't really feel like you read any books like that, like that you don't. I feel like that you like of course you probably have, but it's like you don't get your ideas from that. It's like your ideas lead you to that, right? So yeah, collective, like people are seeing you in your element right now. This is you being the center of the universe almost. Um, yeah, I don't know. Things are orbiting around you right now. You are literally, it's like you went supernova into a black hole, sucked the entire universe through the black hole to birth it anew into a better version of it. I don't know. You're giving me that. If you've ever seen Madoka Magica at the end of the movie Rebellion and how Homura created her like brand new reality, through rewriting the laws of the world. And you obviously that's not possible. It's in an anime, but you know what I mean. You're rewriting how your life is playing out by rewriting your own mental structures. So yeah,